All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist, and we're here just to hang out and talk. Really, I mean, that's what we're here for. Just sit and chill. I understand I don't got nobody right now watching, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll get some people because first we're going to talk about some Twitter polls, okay, that I put out. Had some pretty good results, like a lot of people dropping their opinions on these polls that I have put out. You saw these polls. What do you think of the results, just in general? Don't give away who won or what not or what won, but what's up, Yegan?
I think it just is a real good example of, like, for example, I don't know, the two polls, the one relating to, is this going to be an offensively driven team or a defensively driven team? I think it showed that we were, everybody's pretty split.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has fairly high expectations for both the offense and the defense. And then the other poll was in relation to the receivers, if we, who we thought would get the most receiving yards, was it?
No, just who's going to have a better season.
That's right. Yeah. And there again, like we've all been discussing, you can ask probably 100 Colts fans and you're going to get of a three receiver combination, probably about 33.3% of the time. It just shows the balance. And if the Colts fans can't figure out what it's going to look like and stuff, I can't imagine that a whole lot of the other opponents would be able to figure it out either.
All right. So let's talk about the receiver one. All right. And I am actually going to share a screen. If I can figure out which one it is. And it would be that one. There we are. All right. So that was my poll. Which receiver was going to have the best season for the Colts in 2021? And you can see, just like Loyalist said, three receivers pretty much topped the list. One receiver got over half the votes. And as you can see, over 2,300 votes were tallied on this as well. And, I mean, Zach Pascal. I threw Zach Pascal's name out there just so I could have four guys because I feel like he is a solid receiver that the Colts have. And he got 5.4%. And a lot of the comments underneath say that a lot of Colts fans are sleeping on Zach Pascal. What are your thoughts on so many people saying that?
I would say that I don't think that we're really sleeping on him. I just don't think that his ceiling is as high as the other three receivers in our offense. But to sit there and think that we don't acknowledge that, that Zach Pascal is an amazing piece to the team, and the fact that, fan favorite, you know what I mean? And he just, like we've always said on our show, he just does the dirty work. He does the stuff that doesn't always come on the stat sheets. And I think as Colts fans, I mean, if we've been watching with at least two clear eyes, I think that we would all agree with that.
Yeah. He's solid. He's going to get snaps because he can run block. But the other three guys, I think they have a little bit higher ceiling when it comes to what they can do with the ball in their hand. Paris Campbell, the guy I'm high on, only 16.1% of the votes. Now, I understand it because he has yet to show that he can stay healthy. That's the most important thing. I think that if he can stay healthy, that's the situation that will really help him out. Do you think that's probably what really hurt his overall voting category here, was the fact that he's just not able to stay healthy or hasn't shown it?
Me personally, I don't ever like to speak on behalf of other people, but I would have to say if it wasn't a fear of health, I don't know what else it would be. because it wouldn't be because of lack of speed or lack of ability or anything of that nature. So for me, that was the reason I didn't put that's the reason I didn't put Paris Campbell as my number one guy, was just like you said. Now, if he comes out and he plays 16, 17 games this year and, and produces like we all expect him to or hope for him to, this poll could be given next year, and I imagine the answer will be remarkably different.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. Hey, Joe Schmidt, Larry Brown, Ant Rogers, Alpha, what's up? Alpha says he voted PC. Really think this is the year that could be his year. I believe it too. I really do. Number 2 on the list, however, is T.Y. Hilton. He got a little over a quarter of the votes. Now, in the past, T.Y. has been the guy. Why is it you believe that T.Y. falls from that whole number 1 spot to being the second best receiver on this team?
Well, I would say for me personally, we had last time we discussed this last week, we had Lucas on and I was listening to his point of view and stuff. And I got to admit that, for me personally, I still lean towards, Pittman Jr., but I would say that window had closed down a lot for me. And I think a lot of it was probably like recency biasy or whatever you want to call it, because in the last couple of years, T.Y. just hasn't been putting up the big eye-popping numbers. He's had some injuries. Well, the injuries, I mean, we've seen, with Andrew Luck a few years ago, even with the injuries, he still put up pretty gaudy numbers, especially if you're in Houston. So like I said, for me, I think that maybe just the fact that we haven't seen it in the last couple of years, like we said with Paris to an extent, just for a different reason, I think is probably why, at least for myself and maybe some of the people think that, T.Y. may give up that right.
Yep. Nano. Whoa, that says Nano 27, not Nano 505. You changed your name. What's going on? Appreciate you being here. All right. The final one was Pittman. And he led over 53% of the votes. And I get it. After the beginning of the season was over with, after his calf injury, he came back after 2 surgeries from that calf surgery. The injury on that. And the second half of the season, he just started lighting it up. Started looking really good. And then on top of that, it seems that him and Wentz are on a mission to prove that there's no, angst between them for, Pittman not wanting to give up his number. So there is a good possibility Pittman comes right out of this, right out the gate from the season and just getting a load of receptions from Wentz. What do you think your top reason, because you are the Pittman guy here, what was your top reason on why Pittman would be the best receiver this upcoming season?
Because for me, I don't see the Colts taking week 1, week 2, week 3 and just airing it out real deep. Now, for me, I see a lot of the intermediate routes and relying more on the run after catch, because I think that there's still going to be that getting familiar and getting comfortable and getting your rhythm type thing going on with Carson. And I don't expect to see him a lot during the preseason. So, week 1, week 2, this is going to be where he really gets, aside from, the practice and stuff, this is going to be where he gets his game time rhythm and stuff. But the biggest thing for me is when Pittman catches the ball, he runs with such a conviction and he turns into a guy that will literally run you over. I can't imagine being a DB, seeing that guy coming at me full throttle like he runs and sitting there and being happy about the fact that I'm getting ready to throw my body into this guy. So I think, like I said, for me, with Pittman Jr. and just, like you said, the taste of success that he had the second half of the year, but just after he catches that ball, he just turns into such a beast. I love everything about it.
Well, so we discussed that. Hey, guys, I will let you know as soon as this is As soon as we get done talking about our 2 topics, maybe 3, we're going to jump into the live chat like normal. So just remember, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag the notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. Don't forget, check out the links in the description. I got a link to Newsbreak. You need, please help me out. I got 128 followers so far on Newsbreak, man. And everyone who uses the link in the description supports this channel. It will support this channel financially. You don't even have to pay a dime. It's a free download. Just listen to what I have to say about it. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Don't forget there's also a link right at the top of the description for Super Chat that you can use rather than the YouTube Super Chat. I would prefer if you use that one because YouTube takes 65% of all Super Chat funds, and the link down here works exactly the same way. It'll come up on the screen, and I get 96% of it. So I'd appreciate that. And don't forget, there's a link to my Patreon, which is only $5 a month, and my merch shop. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. Alright, so the second topic we are going to discuss is my other poll. You know, because you guys have spoken. Now, this poll came out yesterday. It's not done and over with yet, but he mentioned it, right? He mentioned it. It is, in 2020, the Colts had the number 8 overall defense. And with Phillip Rivers, they had the number 10 overall defense. And which did you believe would rank higher in the 2021 season by the end of it? Loyalist. Which way did you vote and why?
I went on the offensive side because for me, I feel like our offense, I know we have a question mark with Carson Wentz, which is a big question mark, and I understand that. But I feel like everything that we've seen and just my experience or what I feel like is going to happen, I believe that Carson is going to be equal to or better than what Phillip Rivers was last year. Then when I look on the defensive side, I just see a lot of question marks. You know, we keep discussing about the question marks on our pass rush. You know, we feel like the interior is solid, but the edges are, you know, and then we sit there and we discuss what is it going to be like in the middle tier without, you know, Anthony Walker there. There's a question mark. And then as, you know, we've discussed ad nauseum, you know, then we have at the final level with the cornerbacks. So for me, you have too many question marks to sit there and expect a massive leap. But like I said, I don't expect us to fall off the cliff, and I definitely think our defense is going to be good. And I would also say that our defense, I think, is going to be what dictates how far we go.
Everybody who knows me knows I'm a defensive guy. I love I love watching defense. I love bringing up film of it, all that stuff. But I agree with you. Now, I didn't vote on my own poll. It didn't give me the option. Just FYI, I don't get to vote on my own poll. But I would go offense as well. Honestly, we got an off season this year, right? You see players working with each other all the time. Could not have done that last year with Phillip Rivers and a lot of the young guys like Pittman and Campbell and Jonathan Taylor and, you know, all these other guys that we have. They didn't get to work with each other. they're going to have that all season to be able to start fast. So I believe that, and then the same thing you talked about ad nauseum. We've discussed ad nauseum not only the cornerback situation, we've also discussed the pass rush situation on who's going to step up in the place, right? We've had that discussion on how is Leonard and Okereke going to combine to hopefully mitigate the loss of Anthony Walker Jr. and what he brings to the run defense. So yes, I actually believe the offense will be better than last year, and I think the defense maybe steps back a little bit. Now, could they both end up being 8th overall, offense and defense? It's possible, and then it's a tie, and everybody's wrong, because I didn't put that option in there. But, yeah. But I'm sitting there looking at the defense, seeing 60.9% of the votes are for the defense. And I am confused. I would love to know the reasoning why people believe. Now, I get it. We've got Leonard. We got some really good guys. We got Buckner. We got Moore. We got Rhodes. We got some really good guys. We got safety combos, but there's question marks at key places. And then, of course, Matt Eberflus, where he loves to run that zone defense, it relies on the pass rush. Everything relies on that pass rush when it comes to pass defense. Do I think our run defense is going to be solid? Absolutely. I'm worried about our pass defense and how Eberflus and these new guys are going to adapt with the new personnel. That's it. Guys in the chat, let me know what you think, because it's just, I'm curious. I am fully curious on that.
I would also like to add to that is, you sit there and you talk about how we have we have some really good pieces, but even those good pieces such as Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke, their positions are going through a transition this year. And we don't know even how that's going to affect them. Do we think that Darius is going to be able to step up and take on the added responsibility and stuff? Yes, we do. But we still haven't seen that. We've seen it in small spurts, but we haven't seen it to where he's the guy all year. So, like you said, on top of just the fact that we do have some real playmakers, I think really aside from DeForest, Grover, and Kenny, everybody else is going either through some transition or they don't fall for me in that category of, elite playmakers.
So Alpha says he thinks it's because the defense is a proven product over the last couple years and the offense isn't. I'd have to disagree. Because the offense is ran by Frank Reich, and Frank Reich made it work with every quarterback he's had to work with so far, right? And it didn't matter what kind of quarterback, whether it was Luck, even Brissett, the offense worked a little bit. Now it was limited with Brissett, but it worked. Then, of course, last year with a non-mobile quarterback in Rivers, he made it work even better. 4,000 yards passing, plenty of yards rushing. The Colts offense looked great. And another year for all these young guys, I think will just make it even better. A lot of people, the whole proven product is the Carson Wentz thing. And honestly, I don't see how Carson Wentz can play any less than average on this team. And if he even plays average, then we're going to get what we got last year, I believe. I
was sitting here thinking when he said that, do you think there's like that, what I call the Peyton effect? The Colts year after year, we have put a solid offense, for the better part of 2 decades or better. We've put a good, solid offense. We really haven't had a good to great defense very many years. Even our Super Bowl year, during the regular season, everything was sort of unraveling a little bit. But then when we got into the playoffs, everybody tightened it up and our defense looked amazing, during that playoff run. So do you think maybe it's just the fact that we're used to having a good offense and we're not really used to having that good to great defense? And now that we have it, everybody is just having a high expectation.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, do you think the identity of this Colts team is offensively or defensively? That's a huge question. Because I feel like we're kind of a balanced team all the way around between offense, defense, and special teams. We got all three, can win us games when one of the other three is just not being able to uphold its end. We've seen games where we've won defensive battles. We've seen games where the offense had to step up. We've seen the games where special teams was out there pinning guys down at the 1 yard line on punts and kicking field goals to win games. Now, I get that the Buffalo game happened, in the wild card game, and some things happened there, but a lot of players still played very, very well, on both sides of the ball. It's just we played against a very good team. Hector Javier Garcia, what's up? I think wide receiver like Pittman or Campbell have more chance to break out, so offense is going to be better. For the defense, we need pass rush to be better, and I think that they will click during the second half of the season. Well, that's a good possibility. JDW, able to catch the stream. Thank you, man. How are we doing? I'm doing great, honestly. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Joe Schmidt says the thing that he believes about the Colts, it's the trenches that the Colts have defined over the last few years. Not necessarily defense, not necessarily offense. It's not necessarily the flash makers. It's that D-line. It's that O-line. That's what the Colts have really focused on and have put a lot of effort into making as good as possible. And I cannot disagree. That's what Ballard says that he, puts first and foremost, and you could definitely tell through his drafts and what he does in free agency. That's what he puts all of his chips on is those trenches, man.
Yeah, I agree completely, and that's why I think like this year coming up, now we're starting to see, okay, now we've got some high quality linemen that are going to be up for contracts in the next year or so, and I think Chris Ballard is really going to have this whole balancing act to play. As far as how much more can we afford to invest into the offensive line, and can we renew Fisher? Can we renew some of these other offensive and defensively trench guys? Because if they come out and perform, you've got to keep them. So now you start pouring all this money into the trenches, and I'm a trench guy. Look at I'm all about the big guys, the big hog mollies and stuff. But I am interested to see where that precipice is. Where is that fine balance as far as how much you're going to keep investing into the interior of the team?
JDW brings up the next topic that we was just getting ready to get into. What's going on, JDW? The Niners beat us to the chase. The Niners. What he's talking about is Fred Warner, ladies and gentlemen. Fred Warner got his new contract extension, and I am looking at it right now. And Fred Warner signed a 5-year, $95.25 million contract with the Niners, including a $12.3 million signing bonus and $40.5 million guaranteed. Average salary of $19 and a little bit of change a year. A little bit. It's like $45K. He'll earn a base salary of under $1 million and a signing bonus of $12.25 million, while carrying a cap hit of only $3.5 million. But a dead cap value of ridiculousness, like 45. So this year, not a lot. He's going to make a crap ton of money this year. Every year, the signing bonus is going to hit at $2.7 million for the next 5 years. 2.7 this year, and then 2.5 every year after that. And this year, it don't cost the Niners hardly anything, less than $1 million. And then next year, it's only $2.5 million. But then it starts to go up. 13, over 15, you know. Plus you got options, workout bonuses, things of that nature. His dead cap, if he was released today after signing that, it would cost the Niners over $44 million if he was traded or released. Next year, it's over $40 million. That ain't happening. But we're not here just to discuss Warner. This obviously has implications to the Colts off to the side. And what that has is Darius Leonard's contract. Darius Leonard, if you look at the numbers, has had a better career thus far than Fred Warner. And Fred is getting just a smidgen over $19 million a year over the next 5 years on a 5-year extension. How does that affect Darius Leonard and Chris Ballard's discussions moving forward?
I would honestly say I don't know. I would love to know, you know what I mean? But I think that's some of the stuff that Chris Ballard sort of holds close to the vest, as he should. I mean, I was, we've discussed that also, I was wishing that, man, let's get the Colts to set that market, and then let San Francisco decide if they were going to eclipse it or not. That was what I would hope for. But the more I thought about it, especially after today hearing it, I'm wondering if Darius's camp was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there knowing good and well that in a week or two that this guy is going to sign up. You know what I mean? Because, we all know Darius wants to be the guy. He doesn't just want to be the guy for us. He wants to be the best linebacker in the league. And like you said, I agree that he deserves to make more money than, Fred Warner. And no knock on Warner. If we didn't have Darius, I'd love to have a Warner on my team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, you start looking at things such as tackles for loss, and you start looking at interceptions and stuff like that. And that's where Darius really pulls himself away from the Fred Warner situation. So my only question is does this help us keep things lower? You know what I mean? When they were in the contract negotiations, were they somewhere in the 21 million? And does this help give the Colts some leverage to say, okay, now let's get a little bit closer back to the 20 million or 19 plus million? You know what I mean? I really don't know how all that works out. I would love to. But like I said, honestly, I can see that Darius probably was the one that was sort of, hey, we don't have to rush into this. Let's see what the league does and stuff, And you hear people talk about how Darius is going to do us a favor. And I love the fact that Darius is a good guy. But, he's playing the NFL to take care of his family. Now, that doesn't mean he ain't going to sit there and try to railroad us or anything. But, to sit there and think that this man's getting ready to sign his first big contract and he's been as important to an organization as he is to us, I just don't buy into the whole, cutting us a rebate. Now, will it affect in negotiations as far as where the money goes and how much is a signing bonus and stuff? Yeah, that I could see him being more flexible on. But as far as, that yearly paycheck, no.
I believe what this does, at least for us as fans, is we will finally hear something over the next week. I don't know if we'll get the actual contract done. I think they're going to push to try to get this contract done before camp. That way it's done and out of the way. But I think we'll hear something. Now that the Fred Warner contract is out, we'll find out from somebody most likely whether or not even Leonard and Ballard are close on the deal. If now that the Fred Warner contract is out, Leonard's looking at it. Obviously, Ballard's looking at it and going, okay, let's see where we're at. Would you take a little bit of a discount? No. All right. How's 19.1? You know, that makes you higher paid than Warner. You know, and he'd probably take that. I see JDW says, oh, no, not JDW. Who was it? He'll probably take. Oh, Schmidt said he'll probably take. He's going to get 19.5. I think it'll be less than that. It'll be over Warner's, but I think it'll be even less than 19.5. It's just about the guaranteed money, maybe the signing bonus. A lot of signing bonus could help or it could not. We'll see. We'll see how Ballard works with it. Obviously, Schmidt says hopefully front loaded. I don't think you can front load both Leonard and Nelson and Smith, because all three of those guys need contract extensions. Now, Nelson could get his next year because the 5th-year option was hit. But you don't want to front load all those guys and have all the money come in together at once. You want to have some free money here and there and everywhere to kind of spread out. So you got to make a decision. You know, who's most likely to get hurt? And then that's the guy you don't front load, right? Because that way it gives you an option to let him go if you have to. Like, you know, I mean, I hate saying it, you know, but if you front load somebody and they get injured, then you're stuck with them, you know, and it sucks. And you're paying this guy a whole bunch of money, then he's sitting on the bench. Yeah. But hey, it is what it is. I still think that we'll hear something within the next week on at least whether or not they're close. And who knows? Hopefully we'll get this contract done and out of the way by training camp. That's what a lot of people are saying that the goal was, and that's only, just a few more weeks away. So, soon. Let's see here. We got questions all through here. Larry Brown, I hope not, dude. Nah, Quentin Nelson might get a 10-year, $150 to $200 million contract. I don't want to see 10-year contracts on the Colts. I love Quentin Nelson. I don't want to see a 10-year contract. Now, if it's designed the way Patrick Mahomes' contract is, I'm okay with it. Because it's...
10-year contract with the mobility of 6 years.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's basically a 4 or 5 year contract with options every year after that. It's just an option. Even though it's 10-year contract, every year is an option afterwards. So that I'd be okay with. But, you know, a traditional 10-year contract would be awful. Yeah, that was an interesting question about where we still rank Bobby Wagner. I still think Bobby Wagner is one of the best there is. There's an argument he's the best in the NFL right now. You know, he's still incredible at just about everything. Even at his age, he's still producing at an incredibly high level, and he's done it year after year after year after year. So
consistency, yes.
Yeah. What if the Colts did the contract the opposite way the Niners did? Pay him almost all of it the first few years. The cap is going to go up, and we could have even more cap. I don't think they can afford to. Like I said, if you front load all of him right up front, which, I mean, it's possible. You can do it, but then you're not front loading other people, okay? Especially this year, you would not be front loading, because that new money that's coming in from media and advertising and stuff like the new television money, I think that starts in 2023. So you can't really do that with too many people who are big, high-paid guys.
And another thing is with this front loading, I mean, wouldn't you sort of agree that that's what, like, the Patriots have found themselves with not enough guaranteed money towards Gilmore, or in the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers? You know, he doesn't have any money that, you know what I mean, that ties the team to him. So if you keep front loading all these contracts, then you're just going to find yourself where these players are going to want to renegotiate before the contracts are up, because now they're finding themselves vulnerable. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to be, at the mercy like that, especially if you're a Darius Leonard or a Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to leave the rest of the chat open for you guys over here in chat. What do you want to talk about? Throw your questions in, drop comments, whatever, and we'll get to them, man. I see we got about 14 people in here right now, so I appreciate you, and I understand No Patch Jim is always in here, and he's always talking trash about it ain't the NFL season, even though for some of us, it is just the NFL season. There is no other sport, so what's the point of even talking about other stuff, And even if not, you still want to be kept updated. Even if you are a basketball fan or a baseball fan or a hockey or soccer or cricket, I don't know. Is there an off sport, a sport that's not really big in the U.S. specifically that you're big into?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, my vices are football and poker. So. Those seem to be pretty prominent in both realms of that.
So you're not like a water polo guy or something?
See, for stuff like that, I'm more into that stuff, during this time of year with the Olympics and stuff. I get interested in that. But to sit there and say that I follow it to any length or anything, no. I mean, maybe golf to some extent, but, or NASCAR, you know what I mean? But there again, like I said, these are things that are pretty much mainstays.
Yeah, we got the big sports, in the U.S. I mean, soccer's building up a little bit. Hockey's gotten its little bit of a share in there as well over the last 20 years. So, and then of course golf. Some people don't believe it's an actual sport, but it is what it is. They say golf is the game that sports people play on their off time. Which kind of makes sense, I mean, you see all these quarterbacks and guys out there playing golf and during their Joe Schmidt says he's a curling guy. You're a curling guy. All right.
Oh, no, I do enjoy a good curling. That was brought to my attention 9 years ago, whenever, not the last Olympics, but the one before. I was like, oh, I can really get into this. It's always helpful if like the team that you're rooting for is doing good. So that always makes it a better. What they say, winning always makes everything better.
Yeah. Didn't we all used to play curling to a point, but on a smaller level on our table, right? With little things, sliding it over, trying to get in the spot, knocking the other guy's stuff off. I think they also have those games in bars with the waxed table and stuff. But oh well. Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere. Thoughts on that situation? Yeah, I didn't expect him to. The Green Bay Packers, after what happened last year, would be dumber than heck to deal off Aaron Rodgers, especially right now. He played last year like his hair was on fire because he was upset. And now he wants out. How do you make him more upset? You tell him, no, you ain't going nowhere. You're just going to have to play. Which means he'll just play on fire again, even more so maybe. And then when they're ready to trade him off, or, his contract ends or whatnot, whenever it happens, he'll still be on top of the NFL and he won't have to re-sign, his contract's over. He'll go some team that really, really needs a great quarterback. Honestly, I'm okay with him in Green Bay. I think it's a good matchup. I think he needs a couple guys to work with besides Devontae Adams and Jones at running back, but they have their big three. Loyalist?
Yeah, that's a very confusing situation for me because I see Aaron Rodgers being mentally strong enough that I could honestly, and I know this sounds weird, but I could honestly see him just saying, fine. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, I can't imagine Green Bay trading Aaron Rodgers unless somebody just finally comes in and saves the NFL from this ugly situation, and offers Green Bay just an inordinate amount for Aaron. But also, like I said, I'm not sure what it is that Aaron's wanting right now because, I mean, it's clearly it's not the money. I mean, he's made that pretty obvious just with, the things that you're hearing about the contracts that have been offered to him. And I don't see him running out his contract because he's still got 3 years left on the contract. I just don't see him saying, okay, maybe he comes in and plays one more year and then, like you said, he goes out and he puts out another amazing year like he did last year. And then Green Bay has, more trade value with him or something. But to sit there and say that I could see him fulfilling the whole contract with Green Bay, I don't even think that's an option. I think that, from everything that I've watched and heard, and I'll be honest with you, my main source for the Aaron Rodgers information is through our everybody's favorite Pat McAfee. I mean, he tends to break things down very well and very enjoyably.
Well, I mean,
So,
Aaron Rodgers is there once a week talking with him. Of course, it's the best place to figure out stuff, right?
yeah. But like I said, to sit there and think that he's just going to come back and they're all going to hold hand, that's just going to be a bad year. It's going to be a tense year, I would imagine. Between maybe not even in the locker room, but between the team or Aaron Rodgers and the office personnel. You know what I mean? I could always just see that. Oh, they walk in, Gutekunst walks into the locker room, and then everybody just gets quiet. And the field changes.
What if Gruden, I know everybody's talking about the Broncos, what if Gruden was like, you know what? I'm going to give 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick for Aaron Rodgers. And they're like, okay. What would Aaron Rodgers do with that offense? Because there's a lot of really good weapons.
Oh man,
over
Josh
there.
Jacobs a stud.
Oh my, they got good receivers too, and
Mm-hmm.
and Waller and all them guys. I mean, that would be nasty.
And another thing I like about that scenario is then they're getting Derek Carr, who, you know what I mean, is can start for them. You know what I mean? They're not solely putting all the pressure on Jordan Love then.
That's true.
Yeah, I like that. Like you said, maybe a couple first and Derek Carr. Or
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the scale, but you know what I mean? I do see that would be a good fit. Another quarterback that has got me really interested that, is Deshaun Watson. Now you hear a lot of this rumbling about how a lot of people in the league think he's going to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
Where? Nobody knows, but you know what I mean? And
there's been no exempt list yet. The
Nope.
the NFL commissioner has not dropped him yet. And if he hasn't dropped him yet to this point, there's a good chance he won't. And if Deshaun
Really?
Watson plays, Texans could be good. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Do you really think that's true? Because, they're not in a position now, because there's no games or anything, wouldn't that be something that they could throw out a little bit closer to the regular start of the season? The exempt list is what I'm referring to.
I get you on that. There is a time frame. I don't know the specifics, but there is a time frame that he needs to drop that by, considering what's going on. Now obviously the NFL has had investigators get into this since the get-go. So for him not to drop the exempt list yet, to me, says the investigators are not coming up with any kind of really hardcore proof about anything. At least that's my thought.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, that's interesting how you have, I can't think of a year where you had 2 such high caliber talented quarterbacks and we're this close to the regular season and we still don't even know which color uniform they're going to have on. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know Watson wants out, of Houston. And the only thing that's keeping him from being traded is, the current situation. But if by chance he's allowed to play this season, and he's actually allowed to play this season, would a team take a chance and drop big trade numbers for him? I mean, to me, he's the third best quarterback in the NFL. He's that guy that can raise a team. I mean, look what he did last year, personal wise, not with his 4 wins, as a team, right. Because you got to figure the first 6 weeks was about getting rid of Bill O'Brien. So they, went 0-6 right off the bat to get rid of him. And then, won 4 games, and a lot of their losses were close games. So, and he had career bests last year in nearly every major quarterback stat without DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. He is definitely one of those generational quarterbacks who has enough talent in the right areas, like in his mobility and his arm strength and his accuracy, that he can cover up for a lot of warts. You could be a middle, wild card team or whatever, but if you put Deshaun on your team, all of a sudden now you've gone from a fringe wild card to possibly, making it into the second or third round of the playoffs. Yeah. He's that good.
He is. Larry Brown brings up a question that actually Loyalist and I was discussing when we were recording our Newsbreak video that is on Newsbreak and not here. Okay? I uploaded this specific. It's only going to be on Newsbreak, only Newsbreak. I'm not going to upload it to YouTube. So if you want to see it, you have to use the link in the description and use that Newsbreak app. Give me a follow to see the video that I uploaded. That me and Loyalist had done a recording on. But we were talking about this question from Larry Brown. Says, do you think Jordan Wilkins would garner any trade interest from the Rams since they lost Cam Akers at running back? And Loyalist was all up on that, right? You were all you was like, yeah, baby. What did I tell you, Loyalist?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we've discussed, and I know you think Jordan Wilkins is going to be on the team and stuff, and I'm like, hey, maybe a team can find a need for a trade or something. But like you said, whenever you lose somebody that is this important to the scheme, and like you said, I mean, you look at his numbers, you look at whenever he is on the field. Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to offer us a fourth or something like that, you know what I mean? I can't imagine that the Colts wouldn't jump at that opportunity to, build that draft capital to help, alleviate some of the losses that we're going to have with the Carson Wentz trade next year in the draft.
I also brought up the fact that they may wait until preseason.
Yeah.
And just to see other running backs play. And one specific running back that I think a lot of teams are interested in because they don't know what he's going to be like from that Achilles injuries of last year is Marlon Mack.
I tried to block that one out. I forgot.
I don't like I want to keep Marlon personally. I think he's I think he does everything really, really well. But if he goes into this preseason, he's going to get the majority of the carries. I almost guarantee you, him and Wilkins both, right? I think those are the two running backs that are going to get a lot of carries because I think Taylor will get some with the starting team, and that's it. And then I think it'll be Mack and Wilkins a lot, and maybe some of your practice squad guys, that maybe walk-ons and things like that we don't know much about. But if he continues to look just as explosive as he did in 2019 and that first game before he got hurt of last year, mm-hmm. I could see a team going, okay, he's still got it. How about a third round pick for Mack? you know. And with the Colts not having a first-round pick next year, because I'm just going to say Wentz is going to be a first-round pick. With them not having that, I can't see if Ballard is offered a third-round pick for Marlon Mack, him not taking it. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, like I said, I do remember discussing this now, and I cringe at the thought as a Colts fan, but as a Marlon Mack fan, yes. I mean, and I say, if that happens, just tell them that you'll do it after week 2. That's all. That's all. Just
we don't want to.
Don't make us have to sit there and start beating up on Mack, in week 2, man.
Or reverse, because Mack knows our defense. He knows our defensive players. He knows our scheme. And Mack is good at just about everything. We've discussed it, He can pass block. He can run up the gut. He can catch out of the backfield. He can do just about anything that you need him to do. And he's one of those rare all-around running backs. But we got to see what he looks like after that Achilles injury. Another question JDW brings up. JDW, you bring up a lot of stuff. I understand you love talking, and that's cool because I love seeing the chat just like that. So, good question here. Sam Ehlinger or Taysom Hill? Well, hold on. He says, will Sam Ehlinger be our Taysom Hill?
Oh, okay.
No. No. Taysom Hill, there's very few. Could he be played similar to Taysom? Maybe. Will he play as much as Taysom gets? No way. Taysom Hill gets a lot of snaps, but he gets it all over the place, right? Running back, quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, doesn't matter. I'm surprised if he's not out there on defense on snaps or two. Taysom Hill is one of my favorite players in the NFL, just because he could do so much stuff.
And I just don't see the Colts going that route for multiple reasons. Number one, we have a very mobile quarterback. Okay. Mm-hmm. Number two, if you put him somewhere else on the field, what can he offer us that a Paris Campbell or a Nyheim Hines can't? Because, as far as running the ball or catching the ball. Now, I understand the throwing aspect of it, but so basically you're saying if you see if you see Sam Ehlinger on the field, are you expecting a double handoff pass every time? I just don't see as hard as it is to get all of our playmakers touches this year. I'm just not a fan of the thought of, trying to create less touches for somebody to create just a little bit for Sam. I'm more of a fan of, if we can keep him in the practice squad as our number 3, or if he beats out Jacob Eason, for the number 2 spot.
I don't see that.
I
don't see him beating out Eason.
Yeah, me neither. But I
go ahead.
I just, like I said, I just don't understand. Is the advantage that great to start, tanking around and taking snaps away from some of the players that we have that we know what they are?
Yeah, see, the thing about Taysom Hill is Taysom's good at a lot of stuff, right? He's actually not a bad quarterback. He's amazing with the ball in his hands. He catches the ball very well. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder and get physical with somebody. Now, Sam Ehlinger, to me, is a running back playing quarterback. He's not an accurate quarterback, okay? When it comes to throwing the football, he's not accurate. And that's something that the Colts are going to rely on when it comes to the passing game. They want accuracy. Now, Jacob Eason, when he's standing in the pocket, he's accurate. And he's, just an amazing arm talent. Amazing arm talent. It's when he's on the move that he's got to work on stuff. And we're going to see that this training camp. I've been waiting 2 years. Or it seems like 2 years. It's been waiting a year. Sam's not going to beat out Jacob. There's just no way. Not for the number 2 spot. I don't see it happening. And Yes, Frank Reich likes his little trick plays and things to get you to look one way and do another, but he also wants to put his best players on the field to do that with.
And not to mention you're giving up a roster spot for somebody there.
Yeah. And now he might make the 53. That's a possibility because 3 quarterbacks. If you have an injury, you're screwed. I mean, it's possible he makes the 53 because if you let Sam Ehlinger not, would another team pick him up because of his skill set? It's possible. It is possible. Because, I mean, you got that waiver wire. You got that waiver after you release him before you can get him on the practice squad that another team can pick him up. So be careful in that situation. But I mean, he's got promise, but I don't see him outdoing Jacob Eason right now. All right. Definitely have some questions, questionable questions at times. JDW says. I have a feeling that Jacob Eason will surprise a lot of people about how good he can be, Brown says, and I agree. Absolutely agree. Alpha Lawrence is going to have Monday Night Football pregame set up in training camp. Maybe. What's up, Nomadic Brian? I am definitely on opening day. I'm going to see if I can bring my camera. And it's my $1,200 Sony camera that I'd bring with me and use that. I'm trying to talk my wife because my wife does the video camera on the Indy Express games while I do the commentary, and she runs camera pretty good. But getting her to go to a training camp is going to be like trying to pull teeth because she's not a football fan,
Yeah.
So, and then of course she's a redhead, so she's very, very, light skin complected, and if it's really sunny outside, it'd cook her to death, literally. So it's going to take a lot of work on my end in order to get her to do that.
Well, just let her know how amazing the people are going to be, and we can bring a big umbrella.
Right. What's going on? People starting to pop in here inside the horseshoe. What's up? Appreciate that. And then of course, like I said, Nomadic is in here as well. Appreciate you as well. Heck, we've been here an hour. Went through a couple topics. Let the chat figure out the second half of the chat of our topics that we've been having. Is there any final thoughts on this stream? Oh, and by the way, Friday we're going to have a live stream. I don't know what the topic is yet, but we will have Harrison Woods from UK Colts fans on here because apparently he got his Colts Law merch and he wants to join and wear it. So we'll probably all be wearing the same stinking hoodie in that stream. That'd be kind of funny, but yeah. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Actually, have you seen the 56 throwback uniforms and stuff?
Yes.
We haven't talked about that, but that's pretty cool. I like what they're doing. I mean, me personally, I'd rather had the dominantly blue helmet with the white horseshoe, but I like the look of what we're putting out there for the, and then you see DeForest Buckner, and it looks like, he looks like he could belong out there with them guys back in the 50s.
Yeah, that's true. I have seen Darius Leonard's only 25. Just to let the person in the chat know. He said 30. He's only 25. But anyhow, JDW says Chad Kelly should be the starter. I like the throwback uniforms, but the thing about the Colts is I discussed this on Dear Pats Nation actually last week because they were talking about their throwback uniforms. And the Colts uniforms really haven't changed that much over, the last 70 years. The only thing that has really changed in the last 70 years about the Colts uniforms is the font, and that's it. That's what's changed. So, what kind of font do you want? That's you want the 80s font, you want the 70s font, you want the 50s font.
Yeah, like you said, the Colts, and I like that. I like that the Colts, they're like, hey, this is working. We're not going to change it a lot. You know what I mean? And I mean, unless you are a fan of the Colts, a lot of times you may not even notice the difference from like last year, some of the changes they made to the regular, just the different, like you said, font of the number or how high it's set up on the shoulder pad and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's never been like major changes like what the Rams have went through or the Lions or the Patriots. Patriots have had some major changes. Well, guys, I'm starting to get a little choppy up right now on my recording, so I want to thank everybody for joining me. Appreciate you. Thank you, Loyalist, for coming on here and doing this live stream with me. Guys, don't forget, please, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live. Please go down there to the news break link, hit that. I just uploaded a brand new video that will not be on YouTube. So hit the link, download the free app, give me a follow. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household